In this video, we're going to be talking about everything that's happening in the crypto lawsuits. There are three major things which happened today. First of all, we had John Deaton who said, just got an email off of filing in the Ripple case, and I must have admit, I got butterflies in my stomach. Now, before I move on, make sure you press that like button. I'll give you, another second or so. And anyway, to continue on, but it was just a lawyer withdrawing from the case. To be clear, a lawyer withdrawing means nothing. It's not a signal that the case settled or anything of substance whatsoever. Now, somebody asked, how can we expect the delivery of summary judgment? Will Judge Therese call on both parties and set a court date? Will she deliver it to them over the phone? Will it be publicly listed? Any ideas? And John said she will file it on the public docket. Ripple and the SEC and all of us will get it sent basically at the same time. It'll be filed just like all the other rulings that have been filed, i.e. the Daubert ruling, the ruling to hand over the Hinman documents, etc. So everybody will basically see it at the same time, which is a very important detail. Anyway, so a lot of people are asking, hey, this lawyer suddenly quit. What does it mean? As we said, absolutely nothing, right? All it was just everybody getting excited. There was another document filed. It was a big nothing burger, so do not fret, do not worry. This means absolutely nothing. Now, to not leave you guys empty-handed, because I said, here's all the most important things that happen in lawsuits. In case you missed it, Binance takes an early court loss as request for the SEC rebuke failed. And it's a long one, but a little while ago, Binance went on the offensive against the SEC in the federal court case. Lawyers from the Binance defendants have filed a motion accusing the SEC of engaging in unethical conduct, right? Remember, this was about 5 or so days ago? Binance accused the SEC of violating court rules by making statements outside of the court that are false, designed to harm Binance US's customers, and likely to taint the jury pool. Binance asked the court to order the SEC to comply with the applicable court rules, and Binance argues that after entry of an order agreed to by the parties, the SEC issued a misleading press release claiming it had secured emergency relief, CZ had commingled and diverted customer assets, and the order was essential to protecting investor assets. And he later on stated, this is the bottom line, but Binance is basically going on the offensive. The Binance lawyers are signaling to the SEC that they will be in for a real fight, just like in the Ripple case. And right now, a little bit ago, after Madam Lawman said it was well written, Judge Jackson has issued a brief order denying the Binance motion before the SEC filed its response even. The judge wrote that it was not necessary to reiterate both sides' obligations to comply with ethics rules, and she will not get involved in wordsmithing the parties' press releases. So she's basically not going to go over what exactly they wrote, what exactly the misinformation or the market could have thought about it. She's just not, or he, whatever, is not going to be thinking about it. No, it's a she. So while this does not impact the merits of the case, it's not great of a result for Binance. And it could have been a big deal, and I still think it was. It's, however, just not the result we would have liked. It shows that Binance is in for a fight, and they tried and failed. But it also, I guess, shows the court's, how can we call this, side of just not caring about these details. And it could be because they just don't understand the implications and how small this cryptocurrency space is, where one little teeny tiny announcement can have devastating effects, especially coming from the SEC. But the court's like, you know what, we're not going to get into these press releases, whatever. It's just about the complaints and everything around that, which is fair because it doesn't change the case. It's more of a, it doesn't make it better for Binance. Anyway, John says, I suspect the judge knew the SEC would be coming out swinging mud and citing more internal emails, etc., and she wanted to nib it in the bud. So she basically just wanted to not make this more of a deal than it, already is, I guess. And if you're wondering, the most prominent piece we're talking about here is when the SEC put over in their press release, the SEC secures emergency relief to protect Binance US customers' assets. Order ensures platform customers can continue to withdraw their assets, and it basically just made people a little bit fearful, even though it wasn't really necessary. And they, for example, here state that they've been able to commingle customers' assets or divert customers' assets as they please. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Anyway, two more things. Lately, the number one use case I hear regarding crypto, including to Bitcoin, is for cross-border payments. Ripple was saying this in 2015, despite Ripple's impressive international growth. you simply cannot underestimate the damage the case has caused to Ripple and XRP. And there again, just want to reiterate why it's so important for Binance, this whole press release, this whole remark and allegation. It's not because of the actual issues at stake, I'd say, because that's not even what they're talking about. They're just talking about the fear the SEC brings upon the people by writing it that way. And I'd say in a similar sense as with the SEC suing Ripple, it's, I don't think, really even a bad allegation. If the SEC just said, hey, we're thinking XRP and all these other cryptos are securities, and so we're going to build the rules that way, fair, right? But the fact that they went after them by always stating, hey, we're not really sure if we consider XRP or every single transfer of XRP or just Ripple's sales of XRP securities, and every exchange has to take it off, but we cannot make a determination of something as a security, only an allegation, and we're not trying to build rules. All of this just makes it so vague, and it just does so much harm with no good. And if they just went on the offense of, again, we're going after everything, we want to go after everything, I don't think it would have been that bad. And a good example of that is a little while ago. I'm not sure if I've got it open. I probably have it somewhere on my in my like section here, where if we scroll back ever so slightly, you can see it right here that the SEC in the whole Coinbase debacle reserved their right to call everything a security at later points. All this is just so harmful where they don't have to do it that way. They just for some reason want to be that way. And point number two, like I was saying, so apparently over in the Coinbase situation, things are looking pretty good. John Deaton said, we have about 1,750 Coinbase customers who have signed up to potentially ask to be amicus curiae in the SEC versus Coinbase case. For your information, this isn't about supporting Coinbase. It's about making sure Coinbase or the SEC doesn't speak for you and that you get to speak for yourself. So what I've said before, and this is so critical, we all, in every single one of these cases, in the Ripple case, the Binance case, and the Coinbase case, don't really stand by any of these parties. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't care as much about Ripple as I do about XRP and the XP Ledger. And I don't care as much about Coinbase nor Binance as I care about the cryptocurrencies that are being alleged to be securities in these cases. And again, mostly we're just stating, hey, this is unfair to Coinbase. The SEC let them slip with their IPO and it shouldn't be that way, yada, yada, yada. Or the way they just say, hey, we're going to look in the future as to what other cryptos you want to allege. But the point here is, in these cases, Coinbase is defending Coinbase, Binance is defending Binance, and Ripple is defending Ripple, with the byproducts being the cryptocurrencies that are being alleged to be securities. But if we join these lawsuits, for the most part, we're just defending ourselves as holders of these cryptos that are being harmed, inevitably, by the SEC's allegations against these major companies. And so John Deere is basically right now stating everybody should be joining up to also get their foot in the door against these this overreach and against the fact that you're not being properly protected by any single one party. On a side note, now that we're talking about lawsuits anyway, it becomes more and more clear to me that Ethereum, it's just so, the roots run so much deeper than meets the eye. People have been finding out so much about Wanxiang, about Prometheum, about MIT, about Gary Gensler, about Bill Hinman, about Jay Clayton, about JP Morgan, about all these connections, and it is insane to me. It is just so crazy how much connections there have been, how much money transfers there have been, how much advice transfers there have been, how much guidance there's been, how much communication as a concept. And here apparently Wanxiang funded Prometheum and is also making payments to freaking MIT where Gary Gensler was before. People will soon enough, I think, connect this again to Mr. Sam Bankman-Fried. It's just, it's so peculiar, right? It's so peculiar. So, but damn, I can sit here talking about this for hours. We do not know all the details, which makes this really, really difficult, right? Received 2,322 Ethereum. Why? What exactly happened there? Was Gary Gensler in some way, shape, or form involved? Was Gary Gensler teaching some stuff that was not true by bias? Was he being paid to do that? All these things are being brought up right now, again, because of the stupid mistakes from the SEC by suing everybody at the same time. And I will state again, a lot of other countries in the world, they're not following the same path. A lot of money is going to be flowing out of the U.S. into designations like Hong Kong, etc. And it's all because of the U.S.'s stupid approach to crypto, perhaps because they're afraid that people will look bad on them for everything that happened with Sam Bankman-Fried. I do not know. But because before, things were looking bad anyway. Is it just because the corruption lies so deep with all the money? I do not know, but it's a really, really crazy situation. And on a side note, Bitcoin Cash. It's up crazy. I think it's up like 100% over the last 2 days or so. It's doing absolutely phenomenal, and it makes you wonder why. I haven't found it out though, but I just wanted to quickly mention that, and I think that was the last for our video here. I had a couple of more small things like we had here, but it's just that Wall Street has started to defend crypto ever so slightly, where a lot of people are making up these stupid arguments against crypto, and Wall Street nowadays is coming out to say, well, these and that and this and that reason are the reasons why it's still doing so well and why it's such a good hedge, etc. And it's just funny how I think more and more of that we're going to be seeing over the next couple of months, but yeah. You know what, guys, that's it for today's video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. I'll see you guys again in another one. I recommend you guys to put that notification bell on, because what if something crazy happens, right? You need to be notified, and that's about it.